The stolen information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, and some credit card details of millions of Ticketmaster customers. The hacking group was reportedly trying to sell that data for $500,000. Experts recommend changing your Ticketmaster password as a precaution and using two-factor authentication. March, April, and May in 2024, bringing the third warmest and third wettest spring to Milwaukee. However, WTMJ meteorologist Craig Coupleen says that doesn't mean this trend will continue for the summer.
There is no predictive power. This is the weather system or the weather pattern that has set up during the spring months, a warm, wet weather pattern, but it really doesn't show much or tell us much about the months to come.
The average temperature was just over 50 degrees, 3.5 degrees higher than normal, and nearly 16 inches of rain, much more than the typical total of 9.5 inches. Festa Italiana features a Milwaukee winery owned by a third-generation Italian-American.
Michael Loduca recently purchasing Loduca wines, but he tells WTMJ the family business didn't start out in the vineyards.
We actually started as a music company. We made accordions out of Italy.
Making wine came along in the 70s, but Loduca says it took until the 80s for the business to import wine legally.
Filling up the boats of music instruments with wine. We built a little brand here in Milwaukee.
Now looking forward, Loduca wants to
reach the new generation in upcoming years here.
Wyatt Barmore-Pooley, WTMJ News.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News time is 8:03.
Music director Ken David Mazur conducts the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra and Chorus in Carmina Burana and Carlos Simon's Fate Now Conquers at the Bradley Symphony Center June 7th through the 9th. You don't want to miss this thrilling program, which also showcases the talents of principal trombone Megumi Kanda as soloist in Tandun's Three Muses in video game. Call the box office right now to guarantee your seats at 414-291-7605 or visit mso.org. Artistic partner Deshaun Burton is one of a trio of soloists in Orff's famous ode to earthly pleasures, Carmina Burana. No doubt you've heard bits and pieces of it in commercials, TV shows, and films, but there is nothing like experiencing the full might of this piece in person. Visit mso.org for tickets or call 414-291-7605.
They'd found a quaint little home, a stone's throw away from the park. The landscaping was well kept and the inside was clean as a whistle. But it was outdated, and being that this was their first home, they didn't have a lot of extra cash to do a big remodeling job. You see, the home's living room had a wall of mirrors. He wanted to keep them up, but she was unsure. I told her how beveling the edges of the mirrors would add a hint of elegance, while keeping the spacious look that the mirrors provided. And I asked her to visit our showroom, so I could show her exactly what I meant. Turns out she loved the look, and now, even with the new remodeling job they're doing, the beveled mirrors are there to stay. This is Stacy Sinks with Less's Glass Service, and glass and mirrors have been our business for over 35 years. So if it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Less's Glass. Less's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lessglassservice.com.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Brewers maintain a lead against the White Sox, scoring 4-3 in extra innings on Saturday. The third game in the series kicks off this afternoon. Tune in for coverage with Brewers warm-up at noon here on WTMJ. Taking a look at the roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. We've got a crash on the ramp from Howard Avenue. That's to 4394 South. Also a reminder about the road closures this morning. That's going to be 794 from Edgerton Avenue through Jackson Street. Also Lincoln Memorial Drive closed off. That will be until about 11 a.m. Traffic should start to resume after the UPAF Ride for the Arts bike ride ends shortly after 11 a.m.
Traffic is sponsored by Angela Calais and Benefit Realty.
At Benefit Realty, pay only 3.5 to 3.9% real estate commission and get all the service that you should. Benefit Realty, you pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com.
Taking a look at your WTMJ 5-day forecast, we do have a dense fog advisory still in effect for much of southeast Wisconsin through 9 a.m. Today we'll then see mostly sunny skies, a high of 71 by the lake and 76 inland. Tonight, cloudy skies, a low of 55. On Monday, a chance for rain or storms. Some storms could be strong, a high of 72. Tuesday, a chance for showers and storms towards the evening, mostly cloudy, a high of 78. Wednesday, a chance for early showers and storms again, then becoming sunny, still a high of 78. On Thursday, mostly sunny and breezy, a high of 72. Right now in Madison, it's 61 degrees. In Green Bay, it's 63. In Waukesha, it's 58. And in Milwaukee, it's 60 degrees. I'm Jessica Gatso, setting Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 8:07.
This is Wisconsin's Weekend Morning News with Libby Collins.
And a very good Sunday morning to you. I want to hear more about that funeral in Pleasant Prairie a little bit later on this morning, Jessica, so I know any details you can get on that one. You will, and as Jessica just told you, there are some traffic closures this morning because supporters of the arts are taking to the Hone Bridge at the annual UPAF Ride for the Arts. Now, WTMJ's Vince Vitrano talked with Katie Clark from UPAF about this popular Milwaukee tradition.
Bicycle, bicycle, bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle, bicycle, bicycle.
We always want to make sure that the UPAF Ride for the Arts is a little fresh and new. It's such a legacy event that we have had people riding with us, some for almost all of those years that it has been in existence.
Folks are going to be able to ride up and down the Hone Bridge as often as they like, kind of, right?
Yeah, the Hone Bridge is absolutely the biggest draw. It is the only recreational event that uses the Hone Bridge every year. Sure, you can do it in some of the marathons, some of the triathlons, but this is the only time a quote-unquote normal person can go over the Hone Bridge. So this year we are thrilled to bring back the Hone Loop course, which is a 20-mile closed to all traffic course, which is huge.
You've got another entirely different route for folks families who just want to ride with the kids.
Yeah, so we absolutely have those hardcore cyclists. This is one of the first rides of the cycling season per se, so they kind of use this as a warm-up for all the other races they have going forward. But it's also perfect for the whole family. There are people who bring tricycles over the Hone Bridge. You can do that, but if you don't want to do that ride, you can opt to not go over the bridge and just go up Lake Drive and back. You can do that. Or we have an arts path, which is through Lakeshore State Park, which is about a mile and a half. So
that's the little island right there by Summerfest.
Yeah, so you get to ride around the island. Perfect for those beginner riders or maybe some adults who just aren't that thrilled about riding really far. We welcome everyone, and a fun perk is that kids 12 and under ride free thanks to the Brewers Community Foundation.
Katie Cork is with us from United Performing Arts Fund. The UPAF Ride for the Arts, presented by Miller Lite, is coming up on Sunday, June 2nd. Big party after as well.
Yes, for the first time this year, it is UPAF Fest at the Summerfest grounds. Now, this is completely free and open to the public, so even if you are not riding that day, we still welcome you to come hang out with us from 8 a.m. to noon on Sunday, June 2nd. We'll have really exciting performances from a number of our groups. We've got MISO, a jazz ensemble. We've got Mad Hot Rhythm dancers from Danceworks, Skylight Music Theater. Really fun kids zone with interactive performances from First Stage, Sunset Playhouse, many groups like that. Food, beverages, all the good stuff that makes for a great festival in Milwaukee. The funding from UPAF and in turn the funding from the UPAF Ride really touches every component of what these groups produce, whether it is what's on stage, like you said, what's behind the scenes, their education efforts, their outreach efforts. All of that makes a huge difference. And not only does it impact the individual groups that we fund, but the performing arts really just make for a better community overall. Even if you are not one who ever goes into a theater, which I encourage you to do,
yes, buy a ticket.
Buy a ticket.
Come see a show.
But regardless, the performing arts drive our economy. They create jobs. They attract tourism. They have all these great features to them beyond what's just on the stage.
And the Ride for the Arts got underway at 7 this morning, but riders can still join until 9:30 this morning. Now, you can check out our story at WTMJ.com. We have a very busy show ahead on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News. Former Congressman Scott Klug is going to join us a little bit later on. He has some thoughts about how the Trump verdict is going to affect voters who are kind of stuck in the middle, and how they're going to react to all of this, as well as how it's going to affect the normally upbeat party-like atmosphere of a national convention, which is going to take place here in about 6 weeks. Also, it is Downtown Dining Week, and we're going to tell you everything you need to know about getting bargains on some great meals. The Department of Public Works Commissioner Gerald Kushke joins us with news about special rides on the hop to get you to Summerfest. Also, did you know the second annual Cheese Capital Festival is going to go on this week? And we're going to tell you where you can float a cheesehead down the river and maybe win $1,000 doing it. Plus, our consumer expert has a warning about car repair scams. Rich Kirchen is here from the Milwaukee Business Journal with great news if you're looking for children's clothing at a bargain price. Also, we're going to be joined by Matt Miller, and he's going to share with us his thoughts about Will Smith's movie and whether or not that opening is going to be affected by, quote-unquote, the slap. We'll also take a look back at the week in review. Eric will be here with Everyday Hero. Charlie Snell is here pushing buttons this morning. Jessica Gatso is in the newsroom. And in just 2 minutes, it's Debbie Lazaga with an update about Bike Week. You sense the theme this morning?
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here. Are you in the market for a new roof, but overwhelmed at how to start the process? Well, here's a suggestion. Go with Tri-County Contracting. Installing roofs since the 70s, this family-owned company works for you. Stop by their showroom in New Berlin or go to TriCountyContractingWI.com. You don't want a process that takes forever. Tri-County Contracting makes it easy, from getting the estimate to getting that brand new roof. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting.
What do you call a sectional that embodies class, beauty, and sophistication?
That's easy, Arvid. We name it after me.
You think it should be called the Ben sectional.
Didn't he say class, beauty, and sophistication?
Yeah.
That's obviously me.
Right.
Actually, somewhere along the way, this sofa was nicknamed the Penny Sectional.
Because it represents everything Penny Mustard strives to be.
It truly is the most magnificent sofa I've ever seen.
The Penny Sectional transforms from a majestic piece of art into one of the most comfortable sofas for casual conversation or reclined relaxation.
Is there anything at Penny Mustard that we can name after me?
How about the men's room?
Nah, that's already named after someone else.
Who?
John.
The Penny Sectional, starting at just $174 a month, with only 1 penny down and no interest till May of 2027, through June 3rd at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Get ready to reach new heights when EAA AirVenture Oshkosh returns July 22nd through the 28th. Witness breathtaking aerobatic air shows each day and explore family-friendly activities. Discover thousands of aircraft and don't miss the night air shows on Wednesday and Saturday night. I love those. Back performing this year are the Canadian Forces Snowbirds. Experience the thrill of flight and make memories that will last a lifetime at EAA AirVenture Oshkosh. And thanks to Boeing, youth age 18 and under are free. Get your tickets at eaa.org/tickets.
Well, it's 8:15, and we have 60 degrees. We're going to get up to about 71 this morning, even warmer near the lake, the mid to upper 70s. Sounds like a pretty nice day, doesn't it? We were talking about the bicycle ride, the UPAF bike ride. That's why there's a lot of traffic out there this morning. But it's also Bike Week 2024. And with the weather turning nicer, folks are going to be looking to get back out on the roads for a little bit of exercise. In Milwaukee, you can take advantage of the great biking infrastructure that we have. In this month's Driver's Ed with Debbie, she sits down with a bike expert to see how things are going.
Do you remember your first bike? It was your first feeling of freedom. You thought, now that I have my own transportation, I can go anywhere. Well, it's true.
There is no doubt that bikes help kids explore more and feel, the self-confidence just grows so much more when you're on a bike, and the freedom that you get is just parallel to none.
Owner of Wheel and Sprocket, Amelia Cagle, says it truly is a rite of passage for kids as well as parents. I mean, who doesn't remember running alongside your kid as they finally got rid of those training wheels?
Pedal faster! Pedal faster! There you go! There you go! There you go!
It's not just about wheels, pedals, and brakes these days.
So there is no doubt that the cheapest bicycle is going to be from a department store, all right? But I gotta just say, the bikes that you get from a department store are not built to last.
Most bike shops have upped their game when it comes to selection. Their bikes range from the most economical to the high-end, ultra-competitive $15,000 models for the Ironman races. But it wasn't always like this. During the height of the pandemic, many shops had an inventory issue.
There used to be no bikes in bike stores a year ago, but if you can see behind me, we are at the best stocking level we've actually ever been. So
supply chain hasn't been an issue for you?
It's been an issue, but we've navigated it accordingly. We may not have exactly the right color, the right size, but we have a bike that'll do what you are looking to do.
And with the road improvements specifically for bikes in many municipalities, it's making things easier to get around in this mode. But don't forget, Wisconsin has some of the best bike trails in the country.
And if you haven't been on a bike in a while, this might be the summer for you. We've never had better bike infrastructure here in the city. Milwaukee has the Oak Leaf Trail system that's 120 miles that spans north, south, east, and west of the city. The connectivity of bike paths have never been better too.
Oh, and please remember, if you are on a bike, you are required to follow all the rules of the road, like cars. So stoplights, stop signs, yield signs, and crossing signals all apply to you too. Amelia says it's all about being predictable. Most car versus bike accidents happen because the driver didn't know what the biker was about to do. So best to keep all the hand signals and rules you learned as a kid in mind. They still apply.
Yay, I can do it!
So take some time this week to get in touch with that kid again and remember this philosophy, good for learning to ride as well as a metaphor for life. If you look at the ditch, you go in the ditch. But in this life, if you look at the road, you stay on the road. Debbie Loziga, WTMJ News.
Oh, Deb, I hope all those bike riders out there heard you just say that if you're on a bike, you have to follow the rules of the road like everybody else. I think if you're a driver, you know what I mean about a lot of people on bikes. They don't use those stop signs. I don't want to get started on that. Okay, 8:19. Let's go back to something more pleasant. I remember my very first bike. I bought it with my communion money. That was quite a day. That old Schwinn served me well. All right, it's going to be pretty nice today. We're going to see some sun here as the fog kind of clears away. We're going to get up to 71 near the lake, about 76 further out. Right now, 61 degrees at 8:19 on WTMJ. And coming up in just a couple minutes, we're going to hear from Rich Kirchen from the Milwaukee Business Journal. Oh, that coal stock. Not a good story this week. I'll talk about that and so much more on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Every year you give to your charities, you make donations, and you make a difference. But can you protect your legacy better while making that difference? Is there a more strategic way to give to charity? Join me and Annex Wealth Management's President and CEO, Dave Spano, to discuss this and more. It's our latest webinar, Tips for Smarter Charitable Giving. June 13th, sign up for this free webinar by texting WEB to the WTMJ Talk and Text line 855-616-1620. Another free webinar from our partners at Annex Wealth Management and WTMJ.
I'm Monica Kessler.
Monica makes sure that everything at Kessler's is worthy of a lifetime warranty.
The quality of your ring is incredibly important when it comes to diamond setting, ring sizing, and repairs.
Monica has been part of Kessler's since she was 6 years old.
Let me tell you how to judge the quality of the jewelry you're buying.
It's easier than you think.
All you have to do is read the warranty.
Most stores offer a 5-year warranty, but Kessler's offers a lifetime warranty, the strongest in the world.
We can do it because we put more gold in your jewelry.
When a jeweler wants to make a bigger profit, they put less gold into the jewelry. This makes it thinner and easier to break.
Theirs might look like ours at first glance, but Kessler's jewelry is made not to break, and that takes more gold.
We give you a lifetime warranty because our jewelry is made to last forever, just like your love.
Gold is more than $2,000 an ounce.
Kessler's gives you more gold, a lot more gold.
For the location of the Kessler's nearest you, go to KesslersDiamonds.com.
Spas, spas, spas! The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is coming this weekend only to the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion. Rows and rows of spas, hot tubs, and swim spas. The largest display in the state. Save up to 60% off retail. This weekend only at the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion.
It's 8:21. We're up to 61 degrees. We're going to see those mid-70s by later on today, and it's going to be on the sunny side. Currently 61 degrees at WTMJ. It is 8:22. County Contracting Hotline with Rich Kirchen from the Milwaukee Business Journal. And I think a lot of people were kind of surprised when Kohl's came out this week and their stock just plummeted after that report of lower sales this quarter.
Yeah, their sales were down about 4% from a year ago on a same-store basis, and they had a net loss of $27 million, which was a negative swing of $41 million from a year ago. The company said that the main cause was that they had excess inventory going into the quarter, so they had to do a lot of clearance sales, which is great news for Kohl's shoppers, but not so good news for the company. And the stock market did react negatively. The stock went down as much as 28% the first day.
That's a big bump.
Yeah, they're still saying they think things are going to improve the rest of the year. They're still staking their hopes on the Sephora partnership. They're going to be adding more stores. Almost all of their stores will have a Sephora department by year end. Also, Babies R Us is another partnership they're doing. So they're hoping that will generate more purchases by shoppers.
Well, let's talk about some other news locally, which I think is a good one, especially if you own an EV. And that's where Quick Trip has been awarded a lot of money from the state for some EV charging stations.
Right. The state of Wisconsin Department of Transportation has millions of dollars that came through the bipartisan infrastructure law, and one aspect of the law was to increase the network of EV charging stations across the country. So the DOT just awarded about $23 million in grants to create 53 charging stations across the state, and Quick Trip received grants for 24 locations at their what's now gas stations and convenience stores, $8 million in federal funding. So they're going all in on this, and they do need to match Quick Trip, and the other new stations need to put in about 20% of the cost. So it's about $10 million that Quick Trip is going to deploy to create charging stations at their convenience stores around Wisconsin.
How does that work when you pay to charge your car?
That is a good question. I don't have an EV myself, and I know that there is a fee. I think it's based on how long you're using the charging equipment, and I'm going to guess that each location will work it their own way. I'm not sure what Quick Trip does now. That's to be determined.
Well, let's go to Freighter, because they say they're not increasing their price at two of their largest hospitals.
Right. Freighter Hospital, which is actually the busiest hospital in southeast Wisconsin at the Medical Center Complex in Wauwatosa, and then also Freighter at Menominee Falls Hospital. Starting June 1, they're saying that they're going to have no increase. It's the list price for room and board general hospital stay, and that's different. I mean, in recent years, it's been anywhere from 3 to 5% a year. These prices do end up getting negotiated with insurance companies and with Medicare and Medicaid, so the actual price, you never know for sure how that's going to play out. But it's notable, and they're saying that they're looking around the market here in southeast Wisconsin, and apparently prices are leveling off. And that being said, there are other services where they are raising prices 3 to 5%, so they're going to make up the money in some other services.
And speaking of hospitals, Ascension is saying they're making a little bit of progress on restoring access to all those electronic medical records.
Right. We just passed the 3-week mark since they announced the cyber attack, and they really haven't had access to patients' electronic medical records. Patients haven't been able to check their own records on their MyChart. So what Ascension did say this past week was that they had reconnected and were back online with those electronic records in one market out of 18 states that they're in and District of Columbia, but they're not saying which one. And I did check with Ascension Wisconsin, and they said, no, it's not us. That being said, Ascension Wisconsin indicates that they're probably going to have some good news soon, but they're not saying when.
We're talking with Rich Kirchen from the Milwaukee Business Journal, and not such great news for the employees at BRP, which is a recreational boat manufacturer.
Right. They have a product called Sea-Doo and some others in Sturtevant in Racine County, and the parent company, which is in Canada, says that they've been seeing a drop-off in sales with high interest rates. Fewer people are buying recreational boats. So the company said they are reducing production, and essentially they had 2 rounds of layoffs, one this spring and one just now in Sturtevant, which is reducing their workforce there by about half. So approximately 300 jobs where there were layoffs, and the plant's still open with about 300 employees.
Well, not everybody's closing, because in West Dallas, there's a bioscience plant that's planning an expansion.
Correct. The company that's been known for decades is Chris Hansen in Metro Milwaukee, and they've had the plant in West Dallas since the early 1960s. They've continued to expand over the years, and just getting approved by the city of West Dallas for another expansion. They say it's going to increase their production by something like 50%. They're not saying how many jobs are associated with that, but they do want to start construction on this project later this summer.
And speaking of expansion, tell us about the designer children's wear company.
Right, Florence Eisman, which has been in Milwaukee for about 80 years, and they design and sell designer children's wear. They sell it through boutiques around the country, as well as some high-end retailers like Neiman Marcus and Saks. They also have an e-commerce business, and once a year they do a warehouse sale at their warehouse near south side of Milwaukee. They had over 5,000 people at their sale in April, which apparently was a post-pandemic record, and they are looking at how they can increase the size of the inventory that will be available and just how they're going to approach that warehouse sale next year. It'll be once again in April of 2025.
Well, that's kind of exciting news if you've got a kid, because they grow and you need to replace that clothing often.
It's a 60 to 70% discount on items that are usually, $100. In some cases, $100 or more.
Let's talk about good news, and it's about groundbreaking of a new live entertainment venue in the Deer District.
Right. FPC Live is the company. They are part of Frank Productions in Madison. They've been promoting concerts in Milwaukee at venues around town for a number of years. Miller High Life Theater, Riverside Theater, they book shows around town, and they book shows at Fiserv Forum. Well, now they've been talking about it for over 2 years, building a venue right next to Fiserv Forum. And finally, initially they wanted to go in the 3rd Ward. Then they moved to the site next to Fiserv Forum, where the Bradley Center used to be. After a number of delays, they did actually begin work this week on a 4,500-seat venue. It's going to be scheduled for completion in fall of 2025, starting with pile driving this past week, and they are going to take a break of about 2 weeks during the RNC, because you can't have construction going on during the Republican convention right next door in Fiserv Forum. And also, some of the site where this new venue is going will be used for trucks and trailers for the media companies and other activities related to the Republican convention.
It is going to be a busy time downtown. There's no doubt about that. Rich Kirchen from the Milwaukee Business Journal. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
It's 8:29, 61 degrees at WTMJ.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Champagne's not as cheap as ginger ale, and you can't buy caviar for the same price as candy. But right now, you can buy the highest-end Beautyrest Black and Tempur-Pedic mattresses for nowhere near their highest-end prices. Hassleless Mattress is clearing out a handful of premium floor models. These mattresses are the best, and you can get them for way less. Like the Split King Tempur-Pedic Luxe Breeze in soft or firm was $10,198, now just $25,448. Or the Queen Beautyrest Black L-Class Firm was $26,999, but the floor model is just $13,499. Plus, save with massive markdowns on adjustable bases, starting at $287. It's like buying a Rolls Royce for $10,000 just because it sat on the showroom floor. Selection is limited. Only a few floor models are available at each Hassellist location. And when they're gone for good. Find a self-service, employee-free showroom near you at hassellist.com.
Hey, WTMJ's Sean Mercure here. It was time to paint the outside of our house, and I was overwhelmed. I really wasn't looking forward to it. Thank goodness I got in touch with CertaPro Painters, each business independently owned and operated right here in Wisconsin. They made it easy. They were quick. They were efficient. They were friendly and fun. It's CertaPro Painters. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. My home has never looked better, literally. I couldn't be happier. It's CertaPro Painters. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
A little later on this morning, we're going to be joined by former Congressman Scott Klug. He's got some thoughts about the Trump conviction and how it's going to affect people in the middle, those voters who aren't, feeling strongly on either side of the aisle. Right now, it's 8:32, and let's go to the WTMJ Breaking News Center with Jessica Gatso. And Jess, we've got a missing person this morning.
That's right, Libby. Oak Creek police are asking for the public's assistance in searching for missing Jessica Richel Ramsey. Ramsey is 47 years old, 5'1", and about 110 pounds. She has blonde hair and blue eyes. Oak Creek police say she may be driving a black Chevy Traverse with the license plate 788VPK. Anyone with information should contact Oak Creek Police. The final day of Festa Italiana gets underway this afternoon, and this year's theme is a focus on the region of Sicily. Festivities are at Meyer Festival Park from noon to 9 p.m. This festival is cashless, admission $15. Taking a look at the roads with your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. We've still got a crash on the ramp from Howard Avenue to 4394 South. And a reminder about the road closures this morning for the UPAF Ride for the Arts. 794 is closed. That's going to be from Edgerton Avenue to Jackson Street. And Lincoln Memorial Drive is closed as well. These closures are expected to last until at least 11 a.m. Taking a look at your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today we have a dense fog advisory through 9 o'clock. That's coming to an end shortly. Then we'll see mostly sunny skies for the rest of the day. A high of 71 by the lake and 76 inland. Tonight we'll see more clouds, a low of 55. On Monday, a chance for rain or storms. Some could be strong, a high of 72. Right now in Milwaukee, it's 61 degrees. I'm Jessica Gatso, Setting Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 8:34.
Thanks a lot, Jess. And in just 2 minutes, it's a Week in Review, sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Before you go looking for an area rug that you'll have to settle for because you think that the one you really want will be out of your budget, come to Design Exchange, where you'll find a formidable selection of Oriental, Persian, and other wool area rug choices at 25 to 70% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
If you're trying to find really good, high-end, distinctive furniture, the kind they just don't make anymore, then come to Design Exchange. But you better get here quickly, because the best furniture we take in on consignment doesn't usually last long. It may be vintage, it may have once been out of your range, but now you'll find it's priced right. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor at a value.
Design Exchange.
Whether you're an active or passively active home shopper, our agents want you to be completely up to date with what's out there and what's brand new to the market. With our instant emailed MLS updates, you'll never miss out on what could be the home of your dreams. All you have to do is call and tell us where to search, give us a price range, and soon you'll be totally in tune with your desired real estate market. Remember, MLS searches show you everything. Some of the other real estate sites don't. So call Benefit Realty today, where you'll pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com. 3.5 to 3.9% real estate commission. You can't find a lower rate of commission, and you won't be able to find better knowledge, service, and real estate expertise than you'll find with our agents at Benefit Realty. Because I know that's what you expect. Now, I'm not sure you'll be able to find the highest caliber of agents everywhere, but I can promise that's what you'll get here. So choose Benefit Realty to exceed your expectations, and you'll pay less for more. This is Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where you pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com.
And welcome back to the second half hour of Wisconsin Weekend Morning News. I'm Libby Collins. A little bit later on, we're going to be talking with Matt Miller. Why was last weekend at the box office such a bomb? He'll tell us. Right now, though, there was a historic verdict in New York. No doubt about that. Plus, there was a building mess for Milwaukee Public Schools. And the Boo Birds chirp loudly at American Family Field. There's so much more. It's the Week in Review, brought to you by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
What we do here is go back, track, gone!
Confirmed tornado touchdown Sunday in Milton in the Fort Atkinson area.
A day of remembrance with flags at half-staff honoring those who gave the ultimate sacrifice this Memorial Day.
We owe so much to the brave individuals who have given their lives in battle. They will forever be heroes.
Cheer, boo, whatever, man. Just have a good time at the game.
Ask and you shall receive.
Can you hear that music?
We won't miss him, right?
He's a bum. He wants to go to Chicago, fine. I'm glad you suck.
Not a fan. Not a fan at all.
You're a traitor.
What's your profanity?
Right, I'm sorry.
Fly ball deep center. Bellinger back. And it is gone. To center field. Back goes Perkins. Still back. And he will make the catch again. Fly ball center field. Back. Track. Gone. Gary Sanchez in the bottom of the eighth gives the Brewers a lead. The Kraken rises.
I'm going to release the Kraken.
Unions representing teachers and public workers have sued to end Wisconsin's near total ban on collective bargaining for most public employees.
They don't provide any explanation for why the categories were constructed.
A group aiming to recall Wisconsin Assembly Speaker Robin Voss says they will once again present signatures to the Wisconsin Elections Commission.
The people who organized the recall need to take ownership for the mistake that they made by doing a half-hearted attempt and really doing it very poorly.
You're a moron, right? That is who these people are.
I hate driving past this place every day. I can't believe what happened to my son.
The family of one-year-old Prince Staples wants accountability from the Oak Creek Kinder Care after their son tested positive for cocaine.
The family's attorney, B. Ivory Lamar, says there aren't any surveillance cameras in Kinder Care.
Hopefully, this is the last time where we have daycares across this country without surveillance.
Bruhat Soma, you are the 2024.
12-year-old Bruhat Soma from Tampa, Florida, spelled 29 words correctly in 90 seconds in a dramatic tiebreaker or spell-off.
Is the Milwaukee public school system collapsing before our very eyes?
The state is threatening to suspend funding to MPS after a letter from the Department of Public Instruction said the district has failed to provide key financial reports dating back to last September.
It's exceedingly rare to have a district in a situation like this.
No, we're in a horrible position right now financially. And the board had no clue, and I hate that we wasn't given this information.
History made inside of a New York City courtroom. Today, former President Donald Trump becomes the first former president to be found guilty on 34 felony charges.
Donald Trump is now a convicted felon.
This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people.
They scheduled the sentencing for the Thursday before the Republican National Convention. What a coincidence that would happen.
The big question now, whether the former president will ever see jail time.
Former Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice Janine Geske says no way.
That would cause such problems, not to mention what it would do to the country.
Local criminal defense attorney Julius Kim says he'd be nervous if he was representing Trump.
I'm starting to cringe thinking about all the times that Trump has been lambasting Judge Merchan outside the courtroom right now, knowing that Judge Merchan now can sentence him.
Look at the numbers in the weeks ahead, and that may tell you a lot about where this race might go. But there's a long way between now and November.
What a week.
The Kraken rises.
This is Mark from over.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
And the Weekend Review is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited. 61 degrees at 8:41, and in just a couple minutes, we're going to tell you how you can win $1,000 by floating a cheese head down a river? Oh, yeah, you'll want to hear this. It's all ahead on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News.
When you come to our showroom, you'll find more than a dozen glass shower door displays. Now that's what you're going to want to see, because browsing a bunch of options usually spurs ideas that you've never even thought of. And when you walk around with one of our glass shower door experts, you can ask questions and get assurance. We're here to help. And after nearly 50 years in the glass shower door business, there's not a whole lot we haven't seen. So don't worry, your project's about to be put in the very best of hands. At Les's Glass Service, you can count on our experience that makes it easy to promise top-flight installation. Glass shower doors are our specialty, and we're out there humping it every day to add to our portfolio to make the next project even better than the last. This is Stacy Sinks. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass in your home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Les's Glass. Les's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lesglassservice.com.
Sharks. Most people see them as a threat, but we see a potential cure. At UW Health Carbone Cancer Center, we're the only team in the world researching whether antibodies from sharks can be used to fight cancer. A discovery that would revolutionize the future of cancer care, turning possibilities into remarkable realities. So one day, instead of what if, we can ask, what's next? UW Health Carbone Cancer Center. Remarkable.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for Tri-County Contracting. Is it time to replace the siding at your house? First off, you got to go to Tri-County Contracting. You can hit up their showroom in New Berlin to check out the vinyl siding and the LP Smart Side they have on display. They'll help you find that siding and the color that you will love. And if you're worried about price, don't forget about the 30-year no-faded paint warranty. Transform your house and increase the value. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting, WI.com.
8:43, 61 degrees at WTMJ. If you love cheese, you don't want to miss the second annual Cheese Capital Festival going on in Plymouth, which is the cheese capital of the world, on June 7th and 8th. And joining us on our Tri-County Contracting Hotline is Mary Hauser from the Plymouth Chamber of Commerce. And tell us all about cheese, Mary.
We like to celebrate everything cheese. We're going to have so many activities going on that we needed to put it into 2 days so everything could happen. We have music, we have food, we have mac and cheese cooking contest, we have a cheese eating contest. We're going to throw some foam cheese wedges into the river and watch them float down the river, and then somebody can win $1,000.
Wait, hold on. You can win $1,000 by having one of those foam cheese heads float down the river and win the race?
Yes. They're small little wedges, and you can buy tickets to buy a number of a cheese wedge, and then if your number makes it down first, then you win $1,000.
Whoa, I love it. And what time is that going to take off?
That's at 4 o'clock on Saturday.
You said that there's going to be all kinds of things, and it's what, a throwback to the cheese derby days from back in the 50s?
It is. They started that way back when and had parades, so we are going to have a parade on Saturday. We have music. We have demonstrations and talks by our local cheese companies, which are very much supportive of this event. So Sargento, Sartori, Great Lakes Cheese, and Masters Gallery Foods. They're all involved in this event, and there'll be cheese pairings and cheese making and cheese grading talks for people to go listen to at our Plymouth Arts Center.
Any idea how many different kinds of cheeses will be represented at the festival?
Well, I'm going to say many, because the restaurants that are a part of our mac and cheese cooking contest, they use multiple types of cheeses in their mac and cheese, trying to outdo each other.
What's your favorite kind of cheese, Mary?
I'm partial to cheddar, but I like anything that Sartori makes, too.
So what do you need to do if you want to come to the second annual Cheese Festival?
Well, this will all be happening at Stayer Park in downtown Plymouth starting at 5 o'clock on Friday, June 7th. And then the parade starts the day off on Saturday at 11 a.m. and then continues Saturday evening until our last musical group finishes at 10.
And what should people be prepared to do?
Eat, have fun, learn about cheese, buy some cheese merchandise, and take a chance at winning the cheese wedge race.
Yeah, I want to see the river race. That sounds like a lot of fun. Mary Hauser from the Plymouth Chamber of Commerce. It's great to talk to you this morning.
Thank you so much.
See, actually, I like Gruyere. Plus, I kind of like to say it. Yeah. You like fondue, you'd love it. All right, 8:46, temperature just creeping up a little bit. We're at 62. We're going to see temperatures getting into the 70s today, and believe it or not, it's going to get sunny as the day goes on. Coming up in just a couple minutes, we've got Matt Miller here. And boy, what a disappointing week it was at the box office. Is this indicative of what we're going to see the rest of the summer? Matt will tell us. It's all ahead on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Every year you give to your charities, you make donations, and you make a difference. But can you protect your legacy better while making that difference? Is there a more strategic way to give to charity? Join me and Annex Wealth Management's President and CEO, Dave Spano, to discuss this and more. It's our latest webinar, Tips for Smarter Charitable Giving. June 13th, sign up for this free webinar by texting WEB to the WTMJ Talk and Text line 855-616-1620. Another free webinar from our partners at Annex Wealth Management and WTMJ.
Don't miss out on the Memorial Day event at Ken Michaels Furniture. Our entire showroom of heirloom quality furniture is on sale. Enjoy unprecedented discounts of 35% on Norwalk, Bradenton Young, and Amish solid wood furniture. Create a sofa, chair, recliner, or sectional as unique as you are with our thousands of customizable upholstery options. Or take immediate delivery on in-stock items. Shop the Memorial Day event now at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, and downtown Milwaukee. There's no doubt that a better night's sleep makes for better days, and a good quality mattress helps make it happen. When you buy your new Milwaukee mattress from Ken Michaels Furniture, you are assured of a mattress made individually for you out of the finest natural materials direct from our Milwaukee factory. We make every style, size, and firmness of mattress, and with our factory direct prices, you will save hundreds of dollars. Milwaukee mattresses from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee. Stop in today.
New residential, commercial, or multifamily construction? Call Quality Heating before you begin. Starting a new remodel? Pre-planning any new construction with a qualified HVAC design engineer assures your comfort will be at its maximum. Because the last thing you want your new project to be is uncomfortable. This is Anthony Zanevsky with Quality Heating. From Sheboygan to Illinois to Madison and all of greater southeastern Wisconsin, the man in the red van can give you a master plan.
Quality Heating, Quality Heating.
Her bedroom in back was always warm, while the one in front was as cold as an igloo. She asked me what she should do, and I told her, Mary, zoning will solve your issue. At Quality Heating, the man in the red van knows how to even out your home's temperature and take care of humidity or lack thereof. Heck, you spend most of your life there. Why not maximize its comfort? This is Anthony Zanevsky. Ask the man in the red van about zoned heating and cooling ideas for your home.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality Heating, Quality Heating.
Well, that fog's going to roll off, and it's going to be mostly sunny today. We're going to see temperatures in the low 70s near the lake. Mid to upper 70s as you go further inland. Then tonight, those clouds will increase. We're going to get down to about 55 degrees. Tomorrow looks like we've got a chance of some rain and storms, with some of them strong, and a high only of 72. Then on Tuesday, again, in the late afternoon hours and into the evening, we're going to see some showers and storms. It'll be mostly cloudy and warm with a high of 78. Wednesday, we're looking at rain early in the day. Then it's going to get sunny with a high of 78, and by Thursday, mostly sunny and breezy with a high of 72. Currently in New Berlin, it's 62 degrees. Germantown is 63. Cudahy's at 62. And we have 62 degrees at 8:49 on WTMJ. It's time to check in on our Tri-County Contracting Hotline with Matt Miller. He, of course, is the media critic and pop culture editor at onmilwaukee.com. And I know you're really depressed, Matt, because last weekend, what was supposed to be the big Memorial Day box office opening was a real disappointment.
Well, only financially. You know, Furiosa was expected to be the big movie of Memorial Day weekend, and it did win the weekend, but it was also the lowest Memorial Day weekend in like 30 years, not obviously if you include 2020. And it's a shame because the movie's great. The movie's really good. It's a very fun movie. The worst thing about it is that it's not Fury Road. And, you know, you can say that about 99.99% of the movies that have come out since Fury Road. You know, it's a very hard bar to hit, but it's a good movie. And there's been a lot of talk of, you know, oh, no, nothing's really blown up this summer. There's been no big summer blockbuster yet. And I think, you know, that's kind of the ramifications of the strikes from last year, is we didn't have those giant, obvious guaranteed AAA blockbusters, they all kind of got pushed back a little bit. And so the summer was going to be kind of a risk with kind of movies like Furiosa, which is kind of a weird blockbuster, and The Fall Guy, which is an original, well, not original, but fairly original to most people blockbuster, and, you know, If, an original kids movie. You know, these were always going to be kind of weird bets, and a lot of them haven't had great box office, but a lot of them are actually really good. You know, The Fall Guy is super fun. Furiosa is a really good, big, explosive time. You know, these are still good movies worth your time and worth, you know, seeing, even if it's not opening weekend anymore.
Let me ask you this. Do you think it has a lot to do with movie stars? I mean, if you go back a few years ago, you had Tom Cruise, you had Harrison Ford, and you knew if they were going to open a movie, it was going to be big. Do we still have those kinds of stars with drawing power?
Kind of. You know, I think you need to be married to the right project. You know, I mean, in the case of Ryan Gosling, he was a perfect fit for Barbie. He was a perfect fit to play Ken. But Ryan Gosling's never been a kind of butts and seats movie star, you know, other than La La Land and obviously Barbie last year. When they tried to turn him into a big leading man, his movies have kind of underperformed. And you see that with The Fall Guy. I think everyone really likes Ryan Gosling, but I don't know if he's a guy that people are like, oh, I have to see him on the big screen, or at least they certainly didn't feel that way about seeing him in The Fall Guy. I don't know if we have any kind of bulletproof movie stars at this point. Like you said, like back in the day with Tom Cruise and with Tom Hanks back in the day.
Sure.
I mean, we'll have Will Smith coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend with a new Bad Boys movie. And that'll be kind of interesting to see how that does, because that'll be his first kind of big release since obviously the slap at the Oscars. And I still think he's a big movie star. I think most people outside of, you know, the Hollywood echo chamber have pretty comfortably moved on from that, you know, and, you know, people would rather see a Bad Boys movie.
Well, do you think, though, that if he doesn't pull people in, that that's the end of Will Smith's career?
I think if this doesn't perform well, I think people will be a little concerned that, you know, his career may be entering a different era, you know, kind of how like Tom Cruise's career entered a different era and how a lot of actors enter a different era. You know, if he can't have a big opening and have a big success with Bad Boys, which is arguably his biggest franchise, people forget how much money that third movie made right before the pandemic happened. Then there'll probably be thoughts of, you know, what does Will Smith's career look like now? Does he move to TV? Does he make more sequels to beloved movies like I Am Legend or Independence Day? Does he kind of, you know, heel turn and take on a villain role, since, you know, some people may view him in a darker light now? It'll be very interesting to see what happens, not this weekend, but next weekend when that movie comes out. And if it, like you kind of said, if it doesn't have the opening people expect, but I expect it's going to do well.
We're talking with film critic from OnMilwaukee.com, Matt Miller. All right, what else is coming up in June? Do we have anything to look forward to?
Yeah, I think June is when we get some of the more kind of clear and obvious blockbusters. Like I said, you have Bad Boys Ride or Die. You also have Inside Out 2, the new Pixar movie, which I think is going to do really well. People forget how much money that Inside Out made and how beloved it was and how popular it was. And I do think Pixar still has, you know, that feel of like, oh, it's a Pixar movie. This is something that, you know, adults will like, kids will like. I think that's still going to do really well. And also, you know, kids want to see movies. And there was If and there was Garfield, but I think Inside Out is a bigger, safer bet. And then you have A Quiet Place Day One, which I think looks really good. The Quiet Place movies have been really good. They're kind of split the difference between horror movies and action movies. So I think that could get a lot of buzz there. We'll also get Horizon, which is another one of these summer blockbuster question marks of, you know, will people show up for the first of multiple parts of a Western movie by Kevin Costner? Can he translate some of that Yellowstone magic to the big screen? Or is this kind of, you know, a big blank check that's going to end up bouncing?
Well, you know, and here's the other thing, is you see a lot of films now with big stars, and they're being shown on Netflix. In the privacy of your home, even if you got to pay a little extra, you can get your own popcorn. You can stop it whenever you want and go to the restroom. Is that hurting box offices and movie theaters?
It's not helping. I think that not even so much as the existence of streaming, but as much of, how fast things can go to streaming and things like that. The Fall Guy is already on paid VOD. A lot of movies quickly go to paid VOD, and even though I think a lot of people don't use that, I think there is kind of a mentality of, oh, I'll wait for it. And I was a little frustrated last weekend with Furiosa's box office because, again, this is a movie that has great reviews, that is a good movie that I think people should seek out. And the conversation that weekend wasn't Hollywood made a good movie that you should see, that critics and audiences are enjoying. The conversation was, oh my God, this movie's flopping, what's wrong with it? And I think when general audiences hear that kind of buzz, they're like, oh, well, why would I go see that? An underrated part of the Barbenheimer phenomenon last year was that everyone was like, these movies are really good and exciting, and people are seeing them, and people want to join in that. People want to go see and be a part of that phenomenon. When we start talking about, like, oh, the box office is bad, this movie's a bomb, well, then they're going to wait. Then they're going to avoid it.
But everybody was talking about those movies. You don't hear that kind of buzz this year.
Yeah, but a lot, and again, that buzz that people are hearing is that, oh, the movie's flopping, that must mean it's bad. And that's not the case in this case. It's a good movie. Same with The Fall Guy. And I think if Hollywood wants, people forget, Top Gun made a lot of money after its opening weekend. Barbenheimer made a lot of money after its opening weekend. Anyone But You, the rom-com that came out at Christmas that turned into a surprise smash, flopped its opening weekend, did really poorly, and people just kept coming because people were talking well about it. I think Hollywood needs to stop being doom and gloom about an opening weekend and maybe think like James Cameron does and think like, okay, well, I will keep making money for the next 3 months, and we will make records then.
All right, let's turn our attention to TV. Top Chef. We're getting here towards the end. They just now eliminated one more person. They've got the final 5. We saw who came back from Last Chance Kitchen. What's going to happen next?
Well, hopefully Manny will get voted off. I feel bad for Manny because I don't think he's a bad guy, but he shouldn't be on the show anymore. He's, for 2 straight weeks, been just not bad enough to not get eliminated. And in the process, 2 really good chefs got eliminated. And I don't think Sue and, spoiler alert, Michelle didn't deserve to go. They did really poorly their respective weeks, but it's very clear they are better chefs than Manny, who, like an idiot, decided to make a risotto, a.k.a. the cursed dish, on Top Chef, and he knew it was the cursed dish, and yet somehow he is still around.
Is he the first chef to ever survive risotto?
No, I believe someone else technically survived risotto earlier this year, but it's never a successful dish. It never goes well, and yet every year 2 or 3 chefs are like, I'm going to be the one who pulls it off. And spoiler alert, you never will. You will either get eliminated or get so close to eliminated that everyone will hate you for not getting eliminated.
All right. Well, the important thing is our own Dan Jacobs is still there. And what happens next? I mean...
And thriving.
Yeah.
I mean, he keeps finishing in the top 3. He isn't just surviving. He's doing really well. And next week, I believe that will be the final episode in Wisconsin before they go to Curacao for the big finale episode. So next week, it'll be very exciting to see if he graduates from Milwaukee to the big Curacao finale.
And, of course, you will be watching it live. Tell us about that big party you have every Wednesday night.
Absolutely. Every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock at Zocalo in Walker's Point. We've got drink specials. There's tons of delicious food. We've got the TV on playing the audio and with subtitles, so you always know what's going on the show. We boo when Dan does well. No, we definitely don't.
I was going to say, what did you say?
We cheer when Dan does well. We boo when Manny does well, or at least I do. Again, Manny, no offense, but you shouldn't be here anymore. You should leave. He's the Indiana Pacers of Top Chef.
Matt Miller, you are the MVP of movie critics as far as I'm concerned. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up after the news, we're going to be talking with former Congressman Scott Klug, his thoughts about the conviction of former President Trump. It's all ahead of Wisconsin Weekend Morning News.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is coming this weekend only to the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion. Rows and rows of spas, hot tubs, and swim spas. The largest display in the state. Save up to 60% off retail. This weekend only at the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion.
From big tailgate parties to cozy dinners for two, the freshest ideas start with a stop at Century Foods.
Now through Wednesday, save on 46 to 48-ounce selected varieties Blue Bunny ice cream, $3.99. 14.1 to 33.5-ounce selected varieties Culinary Circle Pizza, $4.99. 64-ounce selected varieties Sunny Delight, 2 for $3. 4 to 6-count selected varieties Northern Bath or Brawny Towels, $7.49.
Hey, why'd you throw my glass across the room?
I have to keep practicing.
The vase from Aunt Sophie?
I'm warming up in case I get to take them out at American Family Field. Read this.
Win the ultimate baseball fan experience at Century Foods?
You either get to throw out the first pitch, hold the finish line for the famous racing sausages, or be on the field during batting practice. My new TV!
Just doing a little batting practice of my own.
The ultimate baseball fan experience. Return the entry form found in the weekly ad to any Century by July 24th.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Guthrie and Fry protects the water in my house. Guthrie and Fry has provided expert advice, quality service, and reliable water since 1974. Owners Sue and Rob are well known and very generous in the local community for supporting great causes that change lives. We've got their water softener. We've got their reverse osmosis system. Our water is crisp, clean, and clear. GFwater.com. It's Guthrie and Fry.
Better water makes a big difference. Guthrie and Fry.
Yelich to right center and deep. Get up! Get up! Get out of here and way gone.
When the North Siders leave, the South Siders come to play. Our Brewers White Sox coverage starts today at noon with Brewers Warm-Up on your home of the Brewers. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 9:02, it's 62 degrees. Today, mostly sunny skies, a high of 71 by the lake and 76 inland. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Jessica Gatso. A fight between 150 people and a man with a gun at a funeral home in Mount Pleasant. It happened at Draeger Langendorf Funeral Home on Saturday about midday. At least 15 to 20 people were actively involved in the fight. One man pointed a gun at the ceiling and began shooting. Mount Pleasant police arrested that man and 4 others for their involvement in the fight. One of those arrested experienced a medical emergency. He was taken to the hospital and later cleared. An investigation is underway after the death of an inmate at the Ozaukee County Jail early Saturday morning.
According to the Ozaukee County Sheriff's Department, at around 2:30 Saturday morning, a 36-year-old man from Milwaukee was found dead in a holding cell. He hasn't been identified yet as deputies work on notifying next of kin. No further information has been released about how he died. The man was being held in Ozaukee County on both local charges and an out-of-county warrant. He had been in custody since Thursday. The incident has now been turned over to the Washington County Sheriff's Office, who will lead the investigation. Wyatt Barmore-Pooley, WTMJ News.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 9:04.
Artwork, especially original artwork, can be pricey. But when you take it in on consignment from nice people like you, who are just ready to change the look of their home, you can price it right. And you'll find a lot of it at Design Exchange. Beautiful frame pieces by a number of notable artists. And new ones pop in all the time. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. In Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Now these tend to fly off the shelves. But don't worry, because our connection supplies us with a lot of them. Vintage ceiling tiles from once great old buildings in New York City that make for ultra-unique artwork. These items are definitely hard to find from anywhere else around here. So come take a look, and you'll probably find a treasure. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. In Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
People saw me and assumed I couldn't work. They only saw a disability, but I was ready to work. I am dependable, trainable, and productive. Then someone decided to believe in me and say yes.
And once you say yes, Thinkability Wisconsin will be there, providing transition and workforce support for people with disabilities and their employers to help shape a better future for all. It all starts when you say yes. Join the movement at thinkabilitywi.org.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes senior living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from Three Pillars resident Lola.
I had seen a lot of retirement places. In a minute, I drove into the driveway coming into Three Pillars. I was sold. The grounds are just beautiful. The management are just incredibly kind people. That mood permeates the atmosphere to me, whether it's the staff, the people with serving in the restaurant, and the residents themselves. It's just a lot of caring, kind people.
Schedule a tour today at threepillars.org.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Brewers maintain a lead against the White Sox, scoring 4-3 in extra innings on Saturday. The third game in the series kicks off this afternoon. Tune in for coverage with Brewers warm-up at noon here on WTMJ. Taking a look at the roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. No incidents on the roads this morning, but we do want to remind you of some closures happening on 794 in both directions. That's going to be closed from Edgerton Avenue to Jackson Street. And Lincoln Memorial Drive also closed. Those closures should start to end about 11 a.m. And time for your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today we have mostly sunny skies, a high of 71 lakeside, 76 inland. Tonight we'll see clouds rolling in, a low of 55. On Monday, a chance for rain or storms. Some storms could be strong, a high of 72. Tuesday, we've got a chance for showers and storms towards the evening, mostly cloudy, a high of 78. On Wednesday, another chance for showers and storms early, then becoming sunny, a high of 78 again. On Thursday, mostly sunny and breezy, a high of 72. Right now in Madison, it's 62 degrees. In Green Bay, it's 67. In Waukesha, it's 62. And in Milwaukee, it's 62 degrees. I'm Jessica Gatso. Setting a limited WTMJ news time is 9:07.
This is Wisconsin's Weekend Morning News with Libby Collins.
And welcome back to Hour 2 of Wisconsin Weekend Morning News. Busy hour ahead. We're going to hear from former Congressman Scott Klug and, with former President Donald Trump's conviction this week. There's a lot to ask him in terms of his thoughts about what this is going to mean, especially for the RNC. Usually it's a party-like atmosphere. Is going to be more like a funeral. Speaking of funerals, Jessica, what is this story out of Pleasant Prairie?
Mount Pleasant.
I'm sorry, Mount Pleasant, rather. What happened?
A fight involving over 100 people, 150 people. This was at Drager Langendorf Funeral Home on Saturday. We don't have tons of details yet, but so far police are saying there was also a gun at one point. One man was shooting towards the ceiling.
In the funeral home?
In the funeral home.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe
the
inside.
Dearly departed present, I would imagine.
Yeah, not sure on the details of exactly where in the funeral home, but it sounds like the fight erupted during some type of service, some type of remembrance event.
But he fired the gun.
Yes, the gun was fired. And so that man was arrested, and 4 others were arrested for their involvement in the fight, but at least 15 to 20 people were actively involved at some point. So far, 5 arrests total, including the man with the gun.
Well, people will tell you that emotions will very often get out of hand when someone passes away. But in this particular case, they're taking it to a whole new level.
Yes, this is definitely quite a strong reaction. And the funeral director said something like, the highly emotional service boiled over and fighting broke out. And
150 people were present for the actual service, which is a pretty, it's a nice turnout. 150 people.
Right, yeah. That's a large crowd.
And, you wonder if this was over who's getting grandma's china or...
Yeah, we have no idea what the motive was at this point, what really led to it besides generally high emotions.
Yeah, I would certainly say so. I don't think I've been to some funerals where people get emotional, but I've never quite seen this kind of emotion.
It's definitely about as emotional as it can get, it sounds like. Okay,
well, get more information on that one. I think that's one to watch for. Thank you so much, Jessica. She'll be back with us at 9:30 this morning. Another thing a lot of people are getting emotional about is the conviction of former President Donald Trump. And, there were a lot of people that had varying emotions about it, and I thought this morning we would turn to one of the people I know who knows best about politics and emotions, and that's former Congressman Scott Klug. And we'll get to him in just a couple minutes. It's all ahead on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News.
Champagne's not as cheap as ginger ale, and you can't buy caviar for the same price as candy. But right now, you can buy the highest-end Beautyrest Black and Tempur-Pedic mattresses for nowhere near their highest-end prices. Hassellus Mattress is clearing out a handful of premium floor models. These mattresses are the best, and you can get them for way less. Like the Split King Tempur-Pedic Luxe Breeze in soft or firm was $10,198, now just $25,448. Or the Queen Beautyrest Black L-Class Firm was $26.99, but the floor model is just $13.49. Plus, save with massive markdowns on adjustable bases, starting at $287. It's like buying a Rolls Royce for $10,000 just because it sat on the showroom floor. Selection is limited. Only a few floor models are available at each Hassellus location, and when they're gone for good. Find a self-service, employee-free showroom near you at hassellus.com.
Live life to the fullest at the Enjoy Life Active Aging Symposium. This free, fun, and uplifting day for older adults 55 plus includes speakers, exhibitors, and much more. John McGivern is the keynote speaker, and there will be pickleball, a self-defense class, breakfast, and raffles. The Enjoy Life Active Aging Symposium, June 11th from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at the Brookfield Conference Center. Presented by Capri Communities, Southeast Wisconsin's top choice for senior living. Register early at enjoylifesymposium.com.
Another MVP has joined the roster at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, Dr. Michael Nolte. Expertscape recently named him part of the top 1% of spine expertise in the world. Dr. Nolte has published over 50 peer-reviewed articles in leading scientific journals and authored more than 100 national presentations. They added this MVP specialist for orthopedic, neurosurgical, and spine care because at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference.
9:13, 62 degrees at WTMJ. Joining us on our Tri-County Contracting Hotline is former Congressman Scott Klug. Now, he hosts a podcast called Lost in the Middle, America's Political Orphans, and I think, Scott, a lot of people are feeling like they're political orphans this morning, especially in light of that conviction of President Trump.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just puts a big question mark over where the unsettled are, right? If you look, there's a big chunk of people in this country who really don't even want to see a Trump-Biden rematch, and it's a little hard to figure out early on what kind of wrench this throws into their voting plans. But I think, it's hard to see where this goes. I think it's one more little mark on a sheet when people are trying to figure out this guy or that guy. So it'll be interesting to see how it develops over the next couple months, Libby.
Were you surprised at the reaction of a lot of Republican leaders? I mean, we even had former Vice President Pence saying nice things, or I don't want to say nice things, but certainly he was a little upset by the conviction.
So cards on the table. I'm not a Trump guy and never will be a Trump guy. I did think that the underlying case was a little weird, right? So It's violations of tax law because they tried to hide what the real, they really weren't legitimate business expenses. So that turns into a very low-level tax felony, if it even is a felony. But the underlying thesis was it was done to essentially be an illegal contribution to the Trump presidential campaign because the money was used to shut down a story they didn't want. Then that should be a federal election commission. It's an election law violation. It's not a tax matter. So it's a pretty convoluted case. But, at the end of the day, he got convicted, and I'm going to take the New York members of the jury at their word. I mean, I've served on jury duty twice, and people take it very, very seriously, despite the fact all of us always try to get out of it. So I just think you have to, say the system worked the way the system worked and sort of bite the bullet and move on.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people who have not been Trump fans still are somewhat coming to the defense of the fact that this was a very weak case.
Yeah, I think of all the cases that are out there, it was the weakest. The one that I think is the easiest to prove is the obstruction of justice with the documents he held onto. I mean, it's pretty clear. I send you a subpoena, you're supposed to turn them over, and if you're telling somebody to hide boxes of stuff in the basement, it seems to me that's like a 10-minute trial. I think that one got complicated because the prosecutor threw in a bunch of stuff about the presidential records law, which is just going to, I don't think anybody understands them. And the first thing the defense lawyer is going to say is, how come Joe Biden wasn't charged with the same thing? And the answer is, well, because he didn't refuse to comply with a subpoena. The Georgia one is bizarre. I mean, for anybody who knows anything about racketeering cases, they're very powerful. They're easy to prove because you only have to prove a handful of overt acts between all of how many people were charged, 32 or whatever it is. How are you going to try 32 people in a courtroom? And if each has two lawyers and there's a prosecutor case, you're going to have to do it in the Georgia Dome. So, and given the foibles of the prosecutor, who is completely mixed up her personal life with the professional life, I think that was the most riskiest for Trump, the most serious charges. And it's state racketeering laws, which have some pretty hefty sentences connected to him. You were convicted, but I'm not sure that case is ever going to see trial anymore. And obviously, because it's another state conviction, a president can theoretically pardon himself of federal crimes, although the Supreme Court's not ruled on it yet. But for the sake of argument, say they could. They clearly can't wipe out the New York State charges, nor could they wipe out the Georgia case if it ever comes to trial.
But this whole thing has gotten so bizarre. I mean, if you think 20, 30 years ago, people saying that this would happen to a former president, I don't think anybody would have believed it. They would have said, oh, that's made up, that's a book, that's a movie. How did we get here?
Well, for all your listeners, it's lostmiddle.com's the podcast, and I think the question everybody in the middle asks is, out of a population of 320 million people, how in God's name did this end up as our choice? And so back to your fundamental question, though, is how does this impact the election? It really doesn't matter nationally. What it really matters, if you look, for example, NBC says there's essentially 7 counties that will tell you who wins the election in November. It's Miami-Dade County, it's suburban Atlanta, it's Grand Rapids, Michigan, that used to be very Republican, a little more purple. It's Maricopa County, Arizona, that's the swingiest county in battleground Arizona. It's Erie, Pennsylvania. It's actually Dane County, Wisconsin. And Dane County is interesting, says the guy who used to represent Dane County as a Republican, as it's become increasingly Democratic. But what really matters in Dane County is, are students going to show up? I mean, do they care about the Trump conviction? Do they worry about what's going on in Gaza? Are they worrying about whether they get jobs over the election in a market that still seems a little bit soft? So, sort of what happens in national polling is irrelevant. What really matters is where swing voters are. And as it's been for the last, 40 years, it's the swing voters in the swing states. And even in the swing states, it's not the whole state. It could literally come down, if you believe NBC News, 7 counties that will serve as a marker in it, and one of them's in Wisconsin.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I want you here, because you were reelected a number of times by people that are kind of in that middle. They don't feel very strongly about being Republican or about being Democratic, and yet you know those people best. You certainly appealed to them. What is the key? What's the key to this? I mean, they're lost in the middle. They don't know which way to go. They're not happy with Biden. They're not happy with Trump. Certainly, this casts a pall over the election, where you have one of the candidates convicted of felonies. Where will they go with this information?
I don't have the faintest clue, and the answer is neither do the campaigns, and that's going to be the jockeying, I think, over the next 3 months to see who can toggle to the middle. There's some warning lights out there flashing for Trump. I mean, the warning lights are clearly that, suburban voters, swing voters aren't big fans. I mean, if you look at New Hampshire, which has one of the largest blocks of independent voters called unaffiliated voters in New Hampshire, 70% of Nikki Haley's voters were swing independent voters, the people in the middle. If you look at Biden, I mean, Biden's got a huge issue with students who don't particularly like him, don't find him very engaging. The Black and the Latino communities seem to be shifting a little more right. So it's very much sort of a swirling sauce in a blender right now, and I can't figure it out. But I think what people really want is not necessarily to have permission to have politicians compromise. I think the operative word is they want them to collaborate. And, you know, you and me, and we'll get a pad of paper, and we'll go down to the closest George Webb to TMJ and pull 8 people aside at a table and ask them to pencil out the rough outline of an immigration deal. I meant people want more security on the border. People want a path for, you know, the kids who came here with their parents who've only grown up in the United States. You know, I was watching a crew put a new roof on a building, house across from me about a month ago, and everybody who was working there was Hispanic, and a couple of the guys from Mexico, because I talked to them. So you get a rough outline, right? So earlier this year, they get a deal in the Senate. It goes to the House. Trump doesn't want it to pass because he wants it as an election issue. So that weekend on Meet the Press and CBS Morning News, everybody's pounding on Republicans. If you play the tape and rewind, we can go to 2006, where George Bush says the greatest failure of his presidency and his greatest disappointment, they didn't get an immigration deal, because in 2006, the Republicans cut the deal, and Schumer and the Democrats stopped it because Barack Obama wanted it as an election issue in the other direction. And I think that's what drives people crazy. It's a pox on both your houses. We elected you to go there, do common sense things. And meanwhile, you know, there's a fight in Congress over false eyelashes 3 weeks ago. There's a U.S. senator asking the head of the Teamsters to step out in the hallway to duke it out over who's the toughest guy in the building. And people are just shaking their head. It's like, who elected these people? With everything we've got to do in this country, the Republicans are running around taking middle school books off shelves, and the Democrats are trying to take the gas stove out of your kitchen. I mean, it's a comedy, and it's a very sad comedy, and I think the middle is just perplexed and bewildered by how we got here.
We are talking with former Congressman Scott Klug. His podcast is called Lost in the Middle, America's Political Orphans. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And also I want to find out from Scott what he thinks the atmosphere will be like at the RNC here in Milwaukee in just a couple weeks. It's all ahead on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News, 62 degrees at 9:23 on WTMJ.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Every year you give to your charities, you make donations, and you make a difference. But can you protect your legacy better while making that difference? Is there a more strategic way to give to charity? Join me and Annex Wealth Management's President and CEO, Dave Spano, to discuss this and more. It's our latest webinar, Tips for Smarter Charitable Giving. June 13th, sign up for this free webinar by texting WEB to the WTMJ Talk and Text line 855-616-1620. Another free webinar from our partners at Annex Wealth Management and WTMJ.
Music director Ken David Mazur conducts the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra and Chorus in Carmina Burana and Carlos Simon's Fate Now Conquers at the Bradley Symphony Center June 7th through the 9th. You don't want to miss this thrilling program, which also showcases the talents of principal trombone Megumi Kanda as soloist in Tandun's Three Muses in Video Game. Call the box office right now to guarantee your seats at 414-291-7605 or visit MSO.org. Artistic partner Deshaun Burton is one of a trio of soloists in Orff's famous ode to earthly pleasures, Carmina Burana. No doubt you've heard bits and pieces of it in commercials, TV shows, and films, but there is nothing like experiencing the full might of this piece in person. Visit MSO.org for tickets or call 414-291-7605.
One day, a 3.5 to 3.9% real estate commission structure will be commonplace. But for now, it's not the case. So you can pay 6% for what we can do for about half that, or you can pay less for full service. For some, it's hard to believe, but for our customers, they know it to be true. I'm Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, and our agents understand the meaning of great customer service. And you'll see they're the cream of the crop. So don't pay more than you have to. Pay less for full service with Benefit Realty. Benefit-realty.com. The reviews are in, and folks seem to like how we do business. And what's more, they can't get over the level of service and real estate expertise they get for far less than what they'd pay an agent from a big-name company. At 3.5 to 3.9%, you'll save up to nearly 50% in commission by choosing a Benefit Realty full-service agent. Everything they do, we do, for up to 50% less. There's no catch. I'm Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where you pay less for full service. See our success stories at benefit-realty.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper-Fi.
SemperFiRoofing.com.
And we're back with former Congressman Scott Klug. His podcast is called Lost in the Middle, America's Political Orphans. We'll tell you about that in just a second. But we've got the RNC coming up in just a couple of weeks. 5 weeks off, I think, Scott? And a couple days before it sets off, they're going to be sentencing the former president. How is this going to affect what is traditionally a party-like atmosphere at a national convention?
Oh, I think it will whip up the Trump supporters, and I suspect you'll see a lot of emotion pent up supporting Trump from people who thought he was convicted wrongfully. And so I don't think it's going to change the mood in the building. It may make it a little less celebratory and a lot more rallying around Trump to get things done. I think it's going to put people in a very battle-hardened mood. The conventions, really haven't been real conventions since before I was in politics. I mean, there's been no drama. There are wired deals. I can remember going to the Republican convention in Philadelphia, and they had to fill 3 days. And so what you end up for 2 days are people just doing 5 minutes of speeches, and they literally have entertainment to fill the dead spot. So I can remember sitting at the Republican convention in Philadelphia watching the OJs play in the middle of the afternoon, which, since I was an OJs fan, was a great way to spend the day. With conventions, what you really could do is shorten it down just to the vice president's speech and the president's speech. That's all that really matters. And the drama that will circle around who Trump's going to pick as his VP candidate.
And that's what I wanted to ask you is, do you think some of the leading contenders will now distance themselves, or is this going to bring more people into the mix in terms of who wants to be his running mate?
Well, I don't think it changes it at all. I mean, I think if you look sort of one national leader at a time and one potential VP candidates have all rallied around Trump and sort of closed ranks. Although it's interesting, a lot of folks, I think you can make the rational argument, are doing it, not that they're Trump fans, but they want to avoid a primary with Trump supporters. And so you've seen a lot of Senate candidates who I think naturally wouldn't do it. The only person I think who's picked the fight pretty publicly is Larry Hogan, who's the former governor of Maryland, who's now running as a Republican in a very Democratic state. But he was extraordinarily popular, and he's running ads actually featuring Republicans and Democrats talking about what a great governor was. So I'm disappointed there aren't more people who will distance themselves from the president. I mean, like a lot of people, I just have a hard time, given his personal conduct, being able to rally around him. And I know that won't buy me a lot of Republican fans listening to the radio right now, but I think you got to be a straight shooter and call it the way you see it. People don't do that.
Any thoughts on who will be the running mate?
I don't, Libby. I mean, I think for a long time, people thought Kristi Noem would be the candidate. Attractive, smart, articulate governor from South Dakota. I think she's sort of fallen off the radar screen. If he's going to go for a woman, maybe Stefaniak, who's a congresswoman from New York who was involved in a lot of the fights with the presidents of universities over anti-Semitism. She might be a good dark horse candidate. Maybe Tim Scott, who's a senator from South Carolina who originally ran against him in the primary, who has now rallied to the president's defense on the recent convictions. In my mind, those are probably the two leading candidates. But I think he is a master showman and I think likes to keep it in suspense. And I don't think we'll know much until maybe the weekend leading into the convention.
Well, the one thing we do know is there are a lot of people who are feeling somewhat alienated, and they're lost in the middle, Scott, and you address that in your podcast, Lost in the Middle, America's Political Orphans. Tell us where we can hear that.
Well, you can download it. You don't even have to put www, just lostmiddle.com. It's a monthly storytelling podcast. So we just are working on one right now about reform ideas and whether they make sense, things like redistricting and Final Five voting and open primaries. Before that, we just actually tackled political stereotypes and had a lot of fun in it because Republicans hate California and California hates Democrats. And if you think about the stereotypes of those two states, that'll tell you a lot about the state of American politics. And we actually had fun with it because we used a lot of Texas comedians making fun of California and California comedians making fun of Texas. But it tells you a lot about the country at this point that we rely so heavily on stereotypes. And I think it's north of 60% of people in this country don't want their son or daughter to marry somebody who belongs to a different political party. I mean, it used to be churches, right? Catholics and Lutherans, Jewish and Christians. There was a lot of harshness there, but really, you don't want to have somebody marry somebody just based on their political affiliation. So that's how wacky it's gotten in the country. And my sense is people, it's like, chill out and wake up. And so if you're feeling lost, rudderless, confused, and bewildered, please download it. As they always say, any place you get your podcasts, it's available.
Lost in the Middle, America's Political Orphans, and of course, the host, Scott Klug. Thank you so much for being here, Scott.
Thanks, Libby. Have a great Sunday. Appreciate the invitation.
You too. It's 9:31 on WTMJ.
What are we doing today?
One of the employee owners has an idea.
Who is it?
Casey Goodson.
Well, hi, you must be Casey Goodson.
That's me. Casey has been with Kessler's for 22 years and became an owner 12 years ago.
We're excited to hear your idea, Casey.
I call it the One Collection.
But we've had special collections in the past.
What are you saying?
Casey, I think Rick is saying that this can't be the one collection because we've offered special collections in the past.
I'm not saying it's the first collection. It's a special collection of engagement rings for the woman that you know is the one. The one for you. The one forever. What's in it? Incredibly special rings for incredibly special women.
How much?
Most of them are between $725 and $2,800. I like it.
I like it.
Me too.
When you have found the one, you'll find her ring waiting patiently for you to come and pick it up at Kessler's.
For the location of the Kessler's nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Quality heating.
Heat pumps have been the norm down south, but they're new up here. And I'm a big advocate for them. They're far more efficient than conventional AC systems and serve as a backup to your furnace too. They don't use gas and they're really efficient. And that's why the government basically pays for a big portion of these babies with rebates. So before you install a conventional AC system, ask the man in the red van about an Armstrong air heat pump.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality heating, quality heating.
Manufacturers can void a warranty if annual maintenance can't be proven. Having a preventive maintenance agreement on your HVAC system keeps your warranty in check, helps avoid nuisance calls and your system failing at inopportune times. You get 15% off parts and labor on repairs, no trip charges, discounted pricing for replacements, and priority service. This is Anthony Zanevsky with Quality Heating. See the man in the red van about a preventive maintenance agreement starting at only $25.50 per month.
Quality heating, quality heating.
Still ahead, we're going to be letting you know about Downtown Dining Week. I love a bargain, and I love great food, so we'll talk about that. But first, it's 9:33. We've got Jessica in the WTMJ Breaking News Center.
Thanks, Libby. Police are investigating the death of an inmate at the Ozaukee County Jail. The Sheriff's Department says a 36-year-old man from Milwaukee was found dead in a holding cell on Saturday morning. No further information has been released about the man's condition or how he died. That man was being held in the jail on both local charges and an out-of-county warrant. He was in custody since Thursday. Washington County Sheriff's Office is now investigating. Taking a look at the roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. Roads are mostly clear, besides some closures to remind you about this morning. Those closures are along 794 in both directions from Edgerton Avenue to Jackson Street and Lincoln Memorial Drive. Those areas will all be closed until at least 11 a.m.
Traffic is sponsored by TaybackAttorneys.com. Veterans benefits denied? Call Tayback for the payback. Brave Americans who served shouldn't be denied benefits or have a disability claim incorrectly evaluated by the VA. If you're one of those vets, call Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com.
Today should be mostly sunny skies, a high of 71 lakeside, 76 inland. Tonight we'll see clouds coming back, a low of 55. Right now in Milwaukee, it's 63 degrees. I'm Jessica Gatso, Siding Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 9:35.
How to get a great deal on a great meal? It's all ahead of Wisconsin Weekend Morning News.
Now these tend to fly off the shelves. But don't worry, because our connection supplies us with a lot of them. Vintage ceiling tiles from once great old buildings in New York City that make for ultra-unique artwork. These items are definitely hard to find from anywhere else around here. So come take a look, and you'll probably find a treasure. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. In Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
In Heartland, you're going to find a focus on distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original artwork, along with tasteful home decor that can fit almost any budget. In Pewaukee, the focus is on kitchen, outdoor, and garden decor, and all of it is priced at 25 to 40% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value.
Design Exchange.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is coming this weekend only to the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion. Rows and rows of spas, hot tubs, and swim spas. The largest display in the state. Save up to 60% off retail. This weekend only at the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion.
Hey, John Mercure here for Floor Coverings International. They just did the flooring in our house, and it is stunning. Carpet, luxury vinyl plank, in and out quickly. They rolled up with that mobile flooring showroom. Incredible. Came in, walked us through everything. The installation was quick and easy, and it is absolutely gorgeous. FCI, the stars of flooring. Each Floor Covering International business is independently owned and operated. They are the real deal. Go to FCIFloors.com for a free consultation. They'll transform your home. FCIFloors.com.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex.com.
Welcome back to the final half hour of Wisconsin Weekend Morning News. I'm Libby Collins. It's 9:37 and 64 degrees at WTMJ. Well, if you're like a lot of us, not only do you like dining out, but you really like a great deal. It is this week going on, the Downtown Dining Week, back for its 18th year. And joining us from Milwaukee downtown is Erica Green. 18 years this has been going on, and it's getting better every year.
Absolutely. Every year we see more Milwaukeeans enjoying our downtown restaurants and just kicking off summer with Downtown Dining Week.
How many participants do you have this year?
Oh, we've got over 30 participants, and they're really, really amazing restaurants in our downtown area who create beautiful menus for Milwaukeeans to enjoy, to taste their way through the city.
Now, you said 30. I don't think we have time to mention all of them, but if you could just kind of give us an overview of what diners can expect.
Absolutely. So this is what we recommend, is visiting Downtown Dining MKE ahead of time. We have all the menus there, so diners can take a look, see what flavors pique their interest. There are multi-course lunches and dinners at the participating restaurants, and you get the chance to choose which one most interests you, give a call to see if they accept reservations, and then go downtown and enjoy your meal.
Well, the interesting thing with this is that these are, what, 3-course meals for the most part?
Mostly 3-course. For lunch, there's some 2-course meals, and those are perfect for if you're working downtown and want to get out with coworkers for a little while, way to sample a new place.
And what are the price points?
So we've got a few. For lunches, we have $15 or $25 lunches, and then dinners are $35, $45, or $55. Something we really love about this event, on every menu, you see the value of the meal that you're receiving, not just the price, which is really nice because we love a good deal, and all of us get to see how much this meal would have cost if we were paying outside of Downtown Dining Week. So we enjoy the art of the bargain as well as getting to experience these really high-level flavors at a good price.
Now, do you have any new participants this year, or are these the people who have been with you for the last 5, 10, 18 years?
You know what's great is this year we have the most restaurants participating since pre-COVID, and many who are participating for the first time. So some of those newcomers include Avli, we've got Carbon Steak, Edison, Experts Only, and Trey Rivali, as well as a number of returning favorites from prior years that diners will really enjoy.
Now tell us about some of the meals. When you mentioned 2 courses for lunch, 3 courses for dinner, What are some of the things that we can expect to have?
So we can try some really tasty appetizers. There's some incorporating those, beloved Wisconsin cheeses, as well as some really inventive flavors in those apps. We'll have some really tasty appetizers, as well as amazing entrees, and then they'll follow it up in those 3-course meals with a creative dessert. So you really get to taste the full flavor of a meal. It's incredible.
With food in Milwaukee being featured for the last couple months on Top Chef, I would imagine you're getting more response, more excitement than you have in years past.
I think there has never been more enthusiasm around Milwaukee's food scene, and it is well deserved. These are really incredible restaurants, chefs, and staff who are creating an amazing experience for downtown diners. And the best part is, after your dining experience, diners are invited to take a survey online about the ambiance, the flavors, the service they received, and enter to win gift cards to downtown restaurants.
Ooh, we get to be like judges on Top Chef.
Absolutely.
Restaurant Wars, right?
Give us your feedback. And the thing is, our restaurants love receiving that feedback as well, so it's a great chance.
Now, if we want to get more information, what do we need to do?
Visit downtowndiningmke.com. There you'll find all the menus, you'll find information on where to find the restaurants, open hours, all the courses, and how to submit that survey and win gift cards.
And this is only going on through Thursday.
Through June 6th, correct.
So we want to make sure you get out there as soon as you can. And gosh, about how many, I'm trying to think, if you do a lunch and a dinner every day now between Sunday and Thursday, you're going to hit at least 10 different places.
Absolutely. Try some old favorites and some new flavors as well.
Erica Green from Milwaukee Downtown. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much. See you downtown.
And you'll probably gain about 5 pounds, too. It's 9:41 and 64 degrees at WTMJ.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. My home is my happy place. It's happier thanks to CertaPro Painters. They painted the exterior of our house. It was quick. It was easy. You can schedule your free estimate today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's CertaPro with a C. Estimates are easy. Estimates are accurate. They clean up. CertaPro Painters are the real deal. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
What name do you look like?
Say what?
My whole life, people have called me Michelle.
But your name is Nicole.
I know. I guess I just look like a Michelle.
Well, there's no confusing the Stony Creek bedroom at Penny Mustard because it looks exactly like its name.
True. When I climb into the Stony Creek, I envision a bubbling brook cascading over smooth stone and a sweet symphony of birds singing in the gentle breeze, lulling you off to La La Land.
That's the Stony Creek bedroom, American made with solid wood, forever tight bed brackets, and drawer bottoms strong enough to stand on.
If you were hiking through a majestic forest and came upon a bedroom set, this would be it.
A bedroom in the forest?
Creeks have beds, don't they?
The Stony Creek bedroom, starting at just $284 a month, with only 1 penny down and no interest till May of 2027 through June 3rd at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
Since 1955, Geis has been the trusted garage authority in Wisconsin. Hey, don't let a busted garage door get you down. Call my friends at Geis today. With brands like CHI and LiftMaster, they have doors for every budget. They'll even build custom designs to meet your exact needs. For swift and reliable garage repair solutions, go to GeisDoors.com. You can also visit their amazing showroom in Brookfield featuring hundreds of doors and openers and their custom design room.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
9:43. Well, how does a college pharmacy major end up as a TV reporter and anchor? And even better, how does she end up on radio? Well, Wisconsin's afternoon co-host, or Wisconsin Afternoon News co-host Julia Fellow told me how she ended up at a Republican National Convention with, of all people, Hillary Clinton.
I was in pre-pharmacy, and they offered my small liberal arts school 2 scholarships. And you could go to the DNC, which was in 2004 in Boston, or the RNC in New York City at Madison Square Garden. And they chose me. And there was a list of different things that you could be an intern for. And I saw radio and TV, and I'm like, oh, I always love that. And then CNN called me. So I got to escort Clinton.
Hillary Clinton wasn't there, was she?
Yeah, the Democrats show up to, they show up.
She was at the RNC?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. The Democrats need their airtime, too. They're definitely watched like a hawk.
What did you think of Hillary?
Very assured of herself, like what you would think a lawyer would be. She had no fear of any of the Republicans that were hawking around her, ready to usher her out of Madison Square Garden. But she was hounded. When I escorted her up the escalator, everyone was looking at her.
Julia was delightful, and I think you're going to really enjoy hearing her conversation. This is going to be at 11 o'clock this morning, right here on WTMJ, and that's Wisconsin Afternoon News co-host Julia Fellow on today's conversation. It's 9:45. Well, you know what? One of the most challenging things I think about Summerfest is finding a parking space. Well, this year they're going to be doing something a little different. You can park all over downtown and take the hop to the Summerfest grounds. We're going to tell you what that means, how you can do it. It's all ahead on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News.
Another MVP has joined the roster at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Dr. Ryan Stefanchek. Board certified in sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation, Dr. Stefanchek specializes in non-operative treatment of the spine, chronic pain, all joints, all musculoskeletal problems, and more, emphasizing holistic care first, with a focus on diet, sleep, stress management, and social connections for a patient's well-being. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference.
Live life to the fullest at the Enjoy Life Active Aging Symposium. This free, fun, and uplifting day for older adults 55 plus includes speakers, exhibitors, and much more. John McGivern is the keynote speaker, and there will be pickleball, a self-defense class, breakfast, and raffles. The Enjoy Life Active Aging Symposium, June 11th from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at the Brookfield Conference Center. Presented by Capri Communities, Southeast Wisconsin's top choice for senior living. Register early at enjoylifesymposium.com.
Let's go to the hop. Let's go to
It's going to be mostly sunny today. We're going to get up to about 71 degrees near the lake, 76 further inland, 64 at WTMJ at 9:47. Well, Summerfest is just around the corner, and you are going to have an opportunity to ride the hop right to those festival grounds. Joining us is the Commissioner for the Department of Public Works, Gerald Kruschke. And Gerald, tell us a little bit about what you're doing this year with the hop that's a little bit different than years past.
Well, one thing is we opened up the L line, which currently we've been running the M line for the past 5 years. But because now that the L line has been open for a month now, we decided to modify our line, and we're calling it the Festival line, to merge the M and the L and try to cater toward the Summerfest grounds during the event. And what that's going to do is to try to help get traffic away from the lakefront and give people easier access in and out of downtown to park in multiple locations and not have the congestion that usually exists in the Third Ward.
What's the schedule going to be like? Will it change from what it is currently?
Right now what we do is we run the M line on a 15-minute rotation and the L line on a 20-minute. So what's going to happen now is you're going to have one continuous line that's going to run at every 15-minute interval, stopping at the Couture and going around the city. And then what we're going to do is to try to get people out. So actually it's going to have increased times accessing the lakefront and getting out of that lakefront area.
Do you expect there to be a great response to it? Do you think a lot more people are going to be parking downtown rather than at the grounds with this opportunity?
I think so. When you look at the increased costs of parking near the festival grounds and having an option to park at other locations and to access the freeway and get home at a quicker time, I think we're going to see extremely increased numbers. It's going to be fantastic.
And what hours will it run?
So we're looking to extend the hours until 1 a.m. during the event. So that's June 20th to the 22nd, June 27th to the 29th, and then July 4th to the 6th.
Well, I got to ask you about what's happening just a couple weeks after that, and that's the RNC in town. Do you expect to do anything a little bit differently with the hop while all those convention attendees are in town?
I think we're still evaluating that right now, so we're trying to figure out where events are happening, what sort of transit needs are necessary to get people to navigate around. So we're looking at that continuously, and then if we have an update on that, we'll send another press release out.
We appreciate it. Commissioner Gerald Kruschke from the Department of Public Works, thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And speaking of cars, you want to keep them in good working condition, but you don't want to get scammed. We'll tell you how not to. It's all ahead on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News, 9:49 and 64 degrees at WTMJ.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. Join me as we count down to the RNC in Milwaukee. We'll talk to the biggest names across the political landscape.
It's going to be Donald Trump's convention, right? I mean, he's the nominee, so he will probably, and his team, have a lot of say on what the messaging will be.
Full podcast available on WTMJ.com or text RNC to the Old National Bank talk and text line 855-616-1620 and get a link sent directly to you. It's the countdown to the RNC podcast, only here on WTMJ.
Now here's a way to bring new life to your bathrooms. And the best part about it is that it's pretty affordable too. Because remember, home improvements don't always have to be expensive. You just have to think a little outside the box. Give your dated bathroom mirrors instant designer style by having us wrap them in custom frames. Talk about an immediate upgrade. Dark wood frame mirrors can add a rich new look to your bathroom, along with a warm, cozy feel. Crisp white mirror frames will brighten and refresh your bathroom's focal point, and custom metal mirror frames will bring a touch of elegance and class. So don't settle for bare mirrors, because the variety of custom mirror frame styles we can help you choose from will go as far as your style and imagination will take it. This is Stacy Sinks with Les's Glass Service. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Les's Glass. Les's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lesglassservice.com.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here for Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. Their mission is to transform the culture of care. We're all living longer. That means in all of our families, people are facing Alzheimer's, dementia, and other memory-related issues. Azura specializes in caring for those with early to late stage Alzheimer's or other related dementia symptoms. They're Wisconsin-based, 14 in our state, 4 in our area. I've been in their buildings. They're fantastic. It's Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, empathy and compassion at the core. It's Azura.
Many people with unique homes reach out to Pella because our team of experts can customize windows and doors that match architecture from any era.
I love that I have a home that's 100 years old. It's a historic district, and we didn't want to ruin the look by having modern windows in an older home. When I found out that Pella had an architecturally accurate product line, they simply guided us and helped us to make a great decision for our home.
Order today and get 0% interest for up to 48 months at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Certain restrictions apply in 6/30/2024.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Well, there's no question that owning a car or a truck can be a lot of work, and it's a lot of responsibility as well. What do you need to do to make sure you are protected as a consumer? Joining us on our Tri-County Contracting Hotline is Michelle Reinen. And let's talk first about motor vehicle care, Michelle.
Yeah, the more you know about your vehicle, the more likely you'll be able to prevent repair problems later on. And you can detect many common vehicle problems early on by using your senses. And then when those senses fail you probably need to hire that professional mechanic to help you handle this maintenance and repair issue that you have. But the first thing you can do is visually check the area around your vehicle for unusual fluids, liquids, and residue that might be coming from your vehicle. Listen for strange noises when you start the engine and while you are driving. And feel for changes in how your vehicle handles, including when driving, speeding up, coming to a stop, making turns. But don't ignore those signs. Ignoring maintenance and signs of problems can really lead to more problems and become very expensive. So it's important to routinely maintain your vehicle by changing the oil, checking the coolant, rotating the tires. Follow that manufacturer's maintenance schedule in the owner's manual and be in consultation with a professional. And then here's where consumer protection can come in should you need repairs.
Well, I know at DATCAP you get a lot of complaints about vehicle repair shops. What are some of the best ways to avoid being ripped off?
One of them is to just be prepared by knowing how your vehicle works. So all those previous tips are going to come in handy because you can explain how it's no longer operating as it once had. Choose a good technician by checking them out ahead of time. While Consumer Protection doesn't rate technicians or repair shops, we do tell you if there are complaints against them. And you can also ask for recommendations from friends, family, and others you trust. Shop around, compare prices, deals, and warranty policies. Understand that if you aren't going to follow through, an estimate might cost you money, but that should be disclosed up front. But it might be worth it at the end of the day, depending upon how much your repair is going to cost you. So be sure that you get things in writing as it relates to any work that you'll be having done.
Well, in Wisconsin, do you have any guarantees as far as estimates and what a repair shop has to disclose ahead of time?
Well, in Wisconsin, auto repair shops must receive your authorization before any repair is done. And if any repair or offer to be done is going to exceed $50, you need to give that authorization. No authorized repairs or price increases are allowed. If you drop off your car after hours, ask them to call you with an estimate. Leave a note with the keys to be sure that they will do that. So that way they can charge you what you want as opposed to whatever the repair will cost because you dropped it off after hours without asking for information. Shops can hold your vehicle until you pay for those authorized repairs, but not for unauthorized repairs. So that becomes really important if you have to do that after hours drop-off situation.
Now, what about the invoice? How complete does that have to be?
The invoice needs to be completed with all the boxes under the law. The invoice has to describe the repairs completed, any parts that were replaced, charges for parts and labor, warranties for repairs and parts. And if you requested that replaced parts be returned to you, that needs to be done. But you need to make that request before the repair work begins. It's so important if you want those parts that you say something up front, because otherwise they end up in the barrel.
And if you think you've been ripped off, who do we call?
Call Consumer Protection Hotline at 1-800-422-7128.
It's going to be mostly sunny today. A great day to take the convertible out. Have a nice little drive. Our temperatures are going to be around 71 if you're close to the lake, 76 further inland. Then tonight, those clouds are going to increase. We'll drop down to 55 overnight. Tomorrow, we've got a chance of some rain and storms. Some of them could be strong, 72 for a high. On Tuesday, we've got a chance of afternoon showers and storms, mostly cloudy and warm, 78 degrees. Wednesday, we'll get up to 78 as well with a chance of those rain showers early in the morning, but it's going to be sunny the rest of the day. And then Thursday sounds perfect. Mostly sunny and breezy with a high of 72. Got some pretty pleasant temperatures around the area this morning. In Elkhart Lake, it's already up to 67. Muskoka's at 67, and guess what? Lake Geneva's at 67, too. We have 65 at WTMJ at 9:57. Stick around after the news. Well, things, I said it's going to be a pleasant day. Well, it wasn't so pleasant in Mount Pleasant, where they had a fight at a funeral. This really happened. Guns went off. Nobody was hurt, thankfully. But it was quite a send-off for the dearly departed. And Jessica's going to have more on that here at 10 o'clock. And then we'll be back at 11 o'clock for our conversation. And right after the news, it's Brian and David Wickert on the Accunet Mortgage and Realty Show. It's all ahead today on WTMJ.
New residential, commercial, or multifamily construction? Call Quality Heating before you begin. Starting a new remodel? Pre-planning any new construction with a qualified